Senator Thom Tillis breaks with Trump, opposes nominee for U.S. Attorney for D.C. in a significant break from party leadership. Senator Thom Tillis, RNC, has publicly declared his opposition to President Donald Trump's nominee for U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ed Martin. The move places Tillis at odds with the former president and several of his Republican colleagues and could introduce serious complications in the confirmation process for a role that holds substantial influence over federal prosecutions in the nation's capital, particularly those related to the January 6th Capitol insurrection. Tillis cited deep and fundamental concerns with Martin's stance on the events of January 6, 2021, a day that continues to cast a long shadow over American politics. According to sources close to the senator, Tillis believes Martin has failed to demonstrate an appropriate commitment to holding individuals accountable for the violence and lawlessness that occurred during the Capitol breach when pro-Trump rioters attempted to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. While I respect the president's authority to nominate individuals to key posts, I cannot in good conscience support a nominee who has downplayed the seriousness of January 6th and shown insufficient regard for the rule of law, Tillis said in a brief statement to reporters. The U.S. Attorney for D.C. must serve the law impartially and vigorously, not political agendas. Ed Martin, a former Missouri GOP chairman and a conservative commentator, has been a vocal critic of what he describes as the weaponization of the Justice Department against Trump supporters. His past statements and affiliations have drawn scrutiny from both sides of the aisle, particularly in light of the continued federal prosecutions of Capitol riot participants. Critics argue that installing someone with Martin's views could undermine the credibility and independence of the office, which handles some of the most politically sensitive cases in the country. Martin's nomination has drawn fierce support from Trump loyalists, many of whom see him as a necessary counterbalance to what they describe as an overly aggressive and biased justice system. However, Tillis's opposition may signal broader unease among establishment Republicans who fear that further politicization of law enforcement could damage the party's image and hinder its appeal among moderate and independent voters. Democratic lawmakers, while unsurprised by Martin's nomination, have also voiced concern. Senate Judiciary Committee Chair Dick Durbin, DIL, issued a statement saying Martin was an inappropriate and dangerous choice for a position that requires independence, impartiality, and respect for the Constitution. The nomination now faces an uphill battle. With a slim Senate majority and possible defections among moderate Republicans, the administration may struggle to gather the necessary votes for confirmation. Tillis's opposition could embolden other Republicans to voice their own reservations or press for a different nominee altogether. Some conservative commentators have accused Tillis of political posturing, speculating that his stance could be aimed at distancing himself from Trump as the 2026 midterm election cycle approaches. Others see his move as a principled stand rooted in concern over the integrity of federal law enforcement. Tillis, who has occasionally broken with Trump in the past, has long positioned himself as a pragmatic conservative willing to engage across the aisle. His latest stance suggests he is increasingly willing to challenge elements of his party when he believes core legal principles are at stake. As the Senate prepares for confirmation hearings, the battle over Ed Martin's nomination is shaping up to be yet another flashpoint in the GOP's ongoing internal conflict, a struggle between Trump-aligned populism and more traditional conservative governance. Whether Martin ultimately secures the role remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. The fight over his nomination is not just about one appointment, but about the future direction of the Republican Party and its relationship with the American justice system.